Get some great light here. All right, I think that's better. Greetings, happy Wednesday to everybody. I hope you're all safe and healthy. Glory and honor to the Father Yahweh, the creator of heaven and earth, the sea and all that in them is. Glory and honor to the firstborn, the first fruits of the Father, Messiah Yahweh Shah, who is the high priest of Israel and soon to be the king of planet earth. Glory and honor to Father Yahweh. Glory and honor to Messiah Yahweh Shah. Greetings to the 12 tribes scattered throughout the four corners of the earth according to the word of the Most High, who are now awakening to who they are and returning to the Father in preparation to be citizens of the soon returning kingdom. Greetings to the 144,000 who are the forerunners of the return of Messiah and the establishment of the Messianic kingdom. Greetings. Greetings to the precious souls among the children of Shem, Ham, and Japheth, who are not the bloodline of Jacob, but are, through the blood of Messiah, grafted into the family of Israel. Greetings. Greetings to the chat, Brother Baldy, Brother Akawan Banya, Ikaya Francis, Brother Yafi. Greetings to all of you. I want to also thank especially Brother Castle King, Brother Mana Prakash, Brother Yakoba, Brother Brother Joseph, Brother Gary Joseph. The Israelite nation came to support me and my dad in the funeral, and it was touching. It was a great blessing, and I really am overjoyed, really, and thankful as they could testify. It was quite an event at my father's funeral. It was on Zoom, but I'm going to revisit the subject matter that was spoken of that day on a Wednesday night. I'm going to revisit that, and so we'll see it because it didn't really come through on YouTube. And I just take that as a sign because so many people have come up to me afterward and talked about how they were affected by the testimony that was given. So I want to repeat that. But for now, I just want to give thanks to the brethren that came out to support me. The nation was there. I was able to see a brother, my literal brother, that I had not seen. I have two brothers, one of which I've told you about, but the other one, I had not seen him in over 20 years, probably 24 years. And in fact, I didn't know where he was at all to even tell him that our father had passed away. And he found his way there. And he was there with his daughter, who I met for the first time, my niece, and his son, my nephew, who I had seen last when he was about 3 years old. Now he's 26. And our family reconnected at that funeral. And it was a great blessing. And again, it was supposed to be a sad occasion, became a joyous occasion. And I think everybody that was there could testify of that. It was a great blessing. And so we'll revisit that subject matter later. But for tonight, this past Monday, 2 days ago, my wife and I were coming home. I forgot where we were coming from, but we were driving home on Monday night. I think actually we spent time with some family Monday night. But as we got close to our house, I saw a very interesting phenomenon that I had not seen ever before. As we know, Monday night was the beginning of Passover. It was the 14th day of the first month. Now, a lot of people are catching hold of that. It was the beginning of the true Passover. A lot of people try to say it was a couple of weeks ago. It wasn't. It was this past Monday, the 14th day of the first month. And then Tuesday was the 15th day of the same. So you had the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which is the same thing. But the interesting phenomenon is that as I looked to the southeast, you can see the moon wasn't quite full because it's the 14th day. The moon is completely full on the 15th day of the month. But the 14th day, you could see it. There was no clouds in the sky. It was just a beautiful, clear moon. They called it a pink moon for whatever reason. But at the exact same time, in the northeast, I looked in the southeast, and then at the exact same time in the northeast, there was this large group of storm clouds with a giant light in the middle and bolts of lightning and thunder coming out from the sides of it. So that at the same time you had thick clouds with lightning and thunder, and then the other side in the southeast, just across from it, was a completely clear sky with the moon. Now we know lightning and thunder is the Father talking. And we know that the moon was showing us the Passover. And we know that this is the first month of the Hebrew year. And we know we're at the beginning of a 3.5-year period that's going to culminate in the fall of 2027. All of this is happening. And I believe this sign was the Father telling us this is the beginning of that 3.5-year period. And he is ready, brethren, to pour his Spirit on us. Now, I want to show you something. Now, the Bible shows us in Genesis chapter 1. Genesis chapter 1. Genesis chapter 1. I'm going to read from the beginning at the fourth day. Yeah, the beginning of the fourth day. And let's read that. Genesis chapter 1 from verse 14. From verse 14 down to verse 19. From verse 14 down to verse 19 of Genesis chapter 1. From verse 14 down to verse 19. And Yahweh said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night. And let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And the Most High made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And the Most High set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And the Most High saw that it was good. And the evening and the morning were the fourth day. You notice he said, he set the lights in the firmament, and he said, with the lights and the stars, let them be for signs, for seasons, for days, and for years. And we know that this is the case. We're in the spring now because the moon rose in the north. Okay. And we know that's the spring moon now. So we know it's the spring, and we know from the moon it was now at this point, we had the 14th day on Monday, Tuesday, this is Wednesday. This is the 16th day of the first month. Okay. And that's going to continue. The Bible says it will not cease. He said that forever. The difference, though, is in the numbering of years. See, every year, forever, the sun and the moon are going to do what they do. The firmament is going to be made new, but it's going to continue to do what it does. The stars are still going to be there. But we have to compare scripture with scripture. And let's take a look at Revelation chapter 10. Revelation chapter 10, which is under the sixth trumpet. Revelation chapter 10. Revelation chapter 10. We just saw Genesis where he set the light. Now, Revelation chapter 10. I'm going to begin at verse 1 of Revelation chapter 10 and go down to verse 7. Revelation chapter 10 from verse 1 to verse 7. And I saw another mighty angel come down from heaven, clothed with a cloud, and the rainbow was in his head, upon his head. And his face was as it were the sun, and his feet as pillars of fire. And he had in his hand a little book open. And he set his right foot upon the sea and his left foot upon the earth, and cried with a loud voice, as when a lion roareth. And when he had cried, 7 thunders uttered their voices. And when the 7 thunders had uttered their voices, I was about to write. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, seal up those things which the 7 thunders uttered, and write them not. And the angel which I saw stand upon the sea and upon the earth lifted up his hand to heaven, and sware by him that liveth forever and ever, who created heaven and the things that therein are, and the earth and the things that therein are, and the sea and the things which are therein, that there should be time no longer. But in the days of the voice of the 7th angel, when he shall begin to sound, the mystery of Yahweh should be finished, as he hath declared to his servants, the prophets. We have studied this. This is, of course, again, this is part of the 6th trumpet, along with, it begins in chapter 9 and goes all the way through into chapter 11, the 6th trumpet. As with the 6th church and the 6th seal, there's a lot of happenings in the 6s, and we are now in, you and I, the 6th church, the 6th seal, and the 6th trumpet. We're about to enter the 7th, but we're in the 6s now. And in the 6s of the trumpets, this was uttered. And one of the things that was said, that there should be time no longer. What does that mean? Right now, all of us live by years. We live X number of years upon the earth. My father lived 83 years upon the earth. He didn't quite complete his 84th year. All of us are under the number of years that we live upon the earth. Time is represented on clocks, and clocks and count time and years and months and weeks. 52 weeks is a year, and then you have years of your life. When we are in the kingdom, though, there's still going to be years, but they will not be counted. And why? How can you count eternity? How can you count? What numbers can you give to eternity? So that we'll know year by year, feast by feast, what's going on. But we will not know how many years, because you cannot count infinity. Does that make sense, y'all? You cannot count infinity. But now on the earth, we can count years, and the Bible tells us, the Bible record is 7,000 years. It's 6,000 years until the return of Messiah. And then the next 1,000 is us on this earth in the kingdom. And the reason that next 1,000 is counted is because of the last resurrection, which is Revelation chapter 20. Revelation chapter 20, which is the resurrection of damnation. Resurrection of damnation, Revelation chapter 20. We're going to begin at verse 1, and first we'll start from verse 1 and go down to verse 6, Revelation chapter 20. And I saw an angel come down from heaven having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain, in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. After that, he must be loosed a little season. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them. And judgment was given unto them, and I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua and for the word of Yahweh, which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Messiah 1,000 years. But the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. On such the second death hath no power, but they shall be priests of Yahweh and of Messiah, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. And when the 1,000 years, verse 7, are expired, Satan, Satan, shall be loosed out of his prison, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. And they went up on the breadth of the earth, and compassed the camp of the saints about, and the beloved city. And fire came down from Yahweh out of heaven, and devoured them. And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever. And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and the heaven fled away, and there was no place found for them. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before Yahweh, and the books were open. And another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which are written in the books according to their works. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it. And death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them. And they were judged every man according to their works. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. Whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. See, so there'll be no more pain and no more death, because death itself will die. With the death of death, there'll be no more time, because time for death is over and time for eternity is begun. Brethren, the Bible says very plainly in Ecclesiastes that there is a time for everything under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to give, a time to get, so on and so forth. Now is the time of sealing. We're living in the time of sealing. The time of sealing precedes the return of the Messiah. As Messiah said in the sixth trumpet, that there should be time no longer. And when the beginning of the seventh trumpet begins to sound, the mystery of Yah should be finished. What is the mystery of Yah? Y'all know what the mystery is. The mystery is the return of the Messiah. That's the mystery. Remember, Messiah say, no man knows the day or the hour but my Father. That's the mystery. The revelation or the revealing of Messiah is the opening or the revealing of the mystery of his return, which he has shown us now in terms of its season. As we know, the Passover, which is the feast of unleavened bread, was fulfilled in Messiah as he was sacrificed, put to death for the sins of his people, and raised the third day. The wave offering was Messiah on that first day of the week, raising up souls that were buried, that Bible says, and let's take a look at it. Matthew chapter 27. Matthew chapter 27. In verse 50 down to verse 52, actually 50 to 53. Matthew chapter 27, from verse 50 to verse 53, Matthew 27, 50 to 53, And Yahushua, when he had cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the ghost. And behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain from the top to the bottom. And the earth did quake, and the rocks rent, and the graves were open, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose and came out of the graves after his resurrection, and went into the holy city and appeared unto many. These are the first fruits of the harvest. Then we saw the earnest or the early rain appear 50 days later on Pentecost. Right now, the Messiah is our high priest for the Day of Atonement. As we know, it's been delayed, the Day of Atonement, in terms of its completion. And the reason it's been delayed, as we know, back to Revelation chapter 6 from verse 12. Revelation chapter 6 from verse 12. Why is the Day of Atonement in the third heaven delayed in its completion? Because you see, once the high priest comes out of the most holy place on the Day of Atonement, the sins of Israel that have been confessed in the most holy place are not only forgiven, but replaced with the Father's perfect righteousness. Revelation chapter 6, beginning at verse 12. And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places, and the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? And I mentioned to you that we are in the sixth, and this was the sixth seal. And you see, it's an obvious reference to the return of Messiah. But there's a question asked, as we are obviously still on this earth, and Messiah has obviously not yet returned. The question was asked, who shall be able to stand? Because, brethren, Messiah's return is coincided with, it said here, for hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb, indicating two individuals, indicating someone sitting on the throne and the Lamb. That is the Father and the Lamb. And no man can see the Father's face and live. So the question is asked, who shall be able to stand? And it is answered as the sixth seal continues in chapter 7. Revelation chapter 7 from verse 1 down to verse 4. And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living Most High. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our Most High in their forehead. So he said, don't hurt the earth until the servants are sealed. Who shall be able to stand? The sealed servants. And I heard the number of them which were sealed. There were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. It is a time of sealing, so that the sealing is the beginning of the end of time. Right now, we are in the sealing. Right now, the Father is calling his souls, his people, so that if you are being drawn to your Creator and to his word, you're not being drawn to the Creator and to his word because you're smart. You're not being drawn to the Creator and to his word because you're perfect. For Messiah is saving sinners. No, you're being drawn to the Father and to the Creator because you are chosen. What a blessing. You're being drawn to the Father and to his word because you're chosen. And the seal of his chosen is underway. It's not something to come. It's here. The sealing doesn't take place in one day. You see, brethren, think about the 12 apostles. Think about the 12 apostles. The early rain fell on them on the day of Pentecost. But that wasn't one day that they got everything. The Messiah was preparing them over the course of 3.5 years. They were with him and he was preparing them for that day for 3.5 years. He's preparing now his servants over the next 3.5 years. He prepared his disciples to receive the early rain on the day of Pentecost, otherwise known as the Feast of the First Fruits. He's preparing his disciples today to receive the latter rain on the Jubilee, so that they can be prepared for the Feast of Tabernacles. This is where we are. The 40th Jubilee will take place in the 7th month, on the 10th day of the month, in the fall of 2027. The fact that I know this is the fact that it's close. Because prior to our generation, nobody knew this. But the word of Yah is being revealed to us. You see, brethren, I used to think that it was happenstance. You know, like the seal, the latter rain, you just happened to be in the right place at the right time and called at that time to receive the latter rain. But no. You see, brethren, to the heathen and to the lost, the return of the Messiah is going to come as a surprise, as a thief in the night. But not to us who are called. Messiah said to the disciples, whatever my Father shows me, I will show you. The Father has shown Messiah when it's time to return, which is what the book of Revelation is all about. And now Messiah is revealing it slowly to us over this next 3.5 years. Brethren, the time for debating and arguing is over. That time is over. Now is the time of the Spirit. Now is the time of conviction. The time of going to church is over. The time of the Gentiles is over. The time of Yah's chosen and of the kingdom is here. Okay, so we are looking, as my wife and I were the other night, in the sky for the signs. And now we understand this is the Passover. We also understand we can't obey the Passover in our enemy's land. See, right now, if we were in the land, nobody would be working. Everything would be closed. And there'd be a giant celebration in Jerusalem and in Israel with the true Israelite people. See, right now there are people that want to keep the Passover. They're acknowledging us. We are the Passover, but you can't really keep it in our enemy's land. See, people would argue that, and this argument is stupid, because if you could keep it, you wouldn't have to ask Massa for time off. You just take the time because it's time for the Feast of Unleavened Bread. You just take the time. Right now, we acknowledge, and this is very important, all of Israel is acknowledging it's the time. We're keeping our eye on the time. Why? Because in the kingdom, there'll be no time. You understand? So we're acknowledging the time. And why the Father has us acknowledging the time? Because of the Feast of Tabernacles. Now, because time is running out, there's the countdown to the Jubilee and to the Feast of Tabernacles. It's the countdown. When, the other day at my father's funeral, honestly, it was the first time in my life, because of this truth. It's the first time in my life. I looked at the casket and I wasn't sad at the casket. I was fully convinced that he's going to blow up through that casket. And it's not going to be too many years. Yes, he's going to turn to dust. But the Most High, when the Father tells Messiah, call him, he's going to explode through the ground and come up into the air. And we're going to meet. That's why when he had died and I came into his room, I kissed him on his forehead and I said, Daddy, I'm going to see you soon. Pop, I'm going to see you soon. Because he's not going to be asleep too long. You see, brethren, for the righteous, it's very simple. People, again, when you are into religion, and Christianity is the big one, then you start to philosophize about things instead of seeing right what's in front of you. The Father opens our eyes and you can see things right in front of you that many people can't see, right? Stuff happens right in front of people and they can't see it. Put it to you this way. Everybody here that's listening to me knows what it's like to sleep. Am I lying? You know what it's like to be in a deep sleep. Do you not? You have experienced what deep sleep is. Okay? So think about that, because that's what the Messiah says. Our friend Lazarus is asleep, and I go to wake him out of his sleep. Paul said, we shall all be changed. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. The sleep is the sleep of the righteous, what the wicked would call dead. Because when you're sleeping, if you've been tired, maybe you worked double shifts, or you had a long trip, or you just was real busy, and all you wanted was your bed, right? And you fell down in your bed. I know when I'm not tired, sometimes I don't even take off my clothes. I just fall down in the bed. Now, and then you're in a deep sleep. And when you awaken out of the sleep, do you know how long you've been sleeping? Do you have any idea? Without looking at a clock, without looking outside, when you come out of a deep sleep, do you know how long you've been sleeping? You just know you've been sleeping and you just woke up. You don't know if you were asleep a half hour, an hour, 10 hours. You don't know what time it is until you look at the clock or you look outside and guess, but you don't know how long you've been sleeping. That's the righteous. When they wake up, coming out of their sleep, they will not know how long they slept. All they will know is that they're awakening. From Adam all the way to my daddy. When they wake up, they're going to know they were sleeping, but they won't know how long they've been sleeping. They'll have no sense of time. That's why Paul says to be absent from the body is be present with the Lord. It doesn't mean you die and go to heaven and everybody. If everybody that loved us that died was looking down on us from heaven, what the heck is a resurrection for? No, the dead have no sense of time. Their love, their hatred is forgotten. They won't ever remember it anymore. They're in the grave. People kept telling me, your daddy's looking down. I said, no, he's not. He's in that box right there. He's in that box right there. And they thought I was being said, no, he's going to come busting up out that box. I'm not worried about that. I know he's coming out that box. I was just sad because death is not natural. Death is not natural. People will tell you that it's natural. No, it's not. The reason we are sad is because the Creator never intended for us on earth to experience death. When he made Adam, it was never intended for Adam to die. It was never intended. Just as Messiah tells the scribes and Pharisees when talking about divorce, he said, in the beginning, it was not so. In other words, divorce was never an intent. The Father made provision for divorce, he said, because of the hardness of our hearts. But in the beginning, when Adam and Eve were put together, there was no intent of divorce. And there was no intent of death. So that you're going to be sad when somebody, like my father died, was sad because it's death. We weren't intended to die. And as we just read, soon there'll be no more death. Death itself will die. Death itself will die. If death dies, then there's nothing but life. See, when death dies, there's nothing but life. And that was the original intent, for us to be living forever and never die. And soon we're at the time where we're going to begin the 1,000-year countdown of death. And we're going to begin that countdown in the kingdom. And we're going to be on this earth. But there'll be no death for us ever again. And the 1,000 years are going to go by very quickly. Y'all see how quick years go by as we're all experiencing death? My father was telling me just a few months ago, he said, man, I was just 25. He said, I was just 25. And that's how fast it goes by. I was telling my son, he's 44. And I said, man, you got to set aside, you got to save a little money, man. He said, he was talking about buying a new car. I said, you buying a new car? I said, you got $10,000 saved? He said, no. I said, so what you talking about buying something for? You broke. He said, you're a saver. Grandpa's a saver. I said, no, bro. Time goes by fast. Goes by real fast. You understand? And so the 1,000 years for those of us that will be living forever, it won't seem like a long time for us. And those that are dead, that are coming up for the death of the second resurrection, the resurrection of damnation, they won't know how long they've been dead, but they're going to be coming up. And they're going to die the second death, as the Bible just showed us, and they'll never come back. There's no coming back from the second death. But for us, we're seeking the seal. And the seal is an eternal seal. Again, does the Father's righteousness die? Can anything that comes from the Father in terms of his character ever die? Can righteousness die? Can his love die? Can his wisdom ever die? Can his understanding ever die? Can his spirit ever die? Well, brethren, all of those character traits, all of those traits are ours as he brings them to us. And because that'll be part of us, death can never hold us. We prayed again for my father. My wife and I laid our hands on him. I laid my hands on him 3 different times and asked that the Father would take away all his sin through the blood of the Messiah. And as Brother Jacoba and Brother Gary Joseph came and baptized me for myself and for my father, I know his sins were washed away. And I could tell him that in my last conversation with him. And I told him, your books are clean. That's very important, because now there's no sin there. And if there's no sin there, righteousness is there. And guess what? Righteousness lives forever. Righteousness lives forever. And when we saw that sign in the sky, knowing it was the Passover and knowing now the Feast of Unleavened Bread with the Passover has begun, and knowing that we can't keep it here, but in the kingdom, the Father is telling us, my kingdom is soon to come. His will be done, and his people will be sealed. Praise the Most High. It won't be long, brethren. Okay, it won't be long. We praise the Most High for the promises of his word. We praise the Most High for the truth, brethren. Like, I can really look at my father laying in that thing and knowing, okay, he's going to turn to dust, but I know the particles of dust will be called back into a new body, and he'll never be sick again. He'll never have pain again. He'll never be old again. My wife said, he's going to be so happy to see you in the kingdom. I said, he's going to be so happy, period. As all people in the kingdom will be, eternally happy, brethren. That's what we're coming to. We got some, as Martin Luther King said, we got some rough days ahead. But we have the truth on our side, and the Father will prepare us for the rough days as he prepared our fathers before us. As they came through the Red Sea and they came through the wilderness and they came into the promised land, he's preparing us for the same. And right now, the preparation continues as we continue to seek our Father and to beg him for his Spirit, so that 3.5 years from now, he will prepare us for the road just ahead of that, which leads to the Feast of Tabernacles. We're going to talk more about that at a later time. But for now, I want to leave you with that. Brethren, the time has begun. The countdown of the finishing of time. The countdown of the finishing of time. It has begun. Sister Kimberlite, I meant to get back to you. I told you I was busy, but Sister Kimberlite has asked to be baptized. And so we got to make arrangements for Sister Kimberlite E for her baptism. Praise the Most High. And I got to get a couple of my brothers from my, we'll contact each other. Me and the brothers know. Get a couple of the brothers here to bear witness and to assist with the baptism. Also, I wanted to touch base with you on the Memorial Day weekend 2025, not 2024, 2025. We had to delay this year for the obvious reasons, which we discussed, but we're planning by the grace of the Father to have Memorial Day weekend 2025 at the Dunes Resort in Florida here. Okay, so we're gonna have 2025. And we're going to begin, and please, as soon as possible, let's start getting those funds together. Even you got to put aside a little $20 every 2 weeks or whatever. Let's do that so that by the time we get to next year in April, we're ready for Memorial Day weekend 2025. And I want to tell you something, with everything that's happening now, we're expecting a whole lot of events to take place between now and then. Okay. And who knows if that will be the last time that we get together as a group like that, okay? Because before things really start to break off, because you and I know, even the people in the world, they got a phrase. You've heard this phrase, SHTF. Have you ever heard that? The 4 letters, SHTF. Have you heard that? Because that's popular in the world. It's like everybody on earth is feeling something's going to happen. Yeah, ish hit the fan. That's right. Everybody's feeling something's going to happen. I've talked to people, and they're getting They're getting food together and they're getting guns and ammunition to last for a long time because they think they believe something's going to hit the fan. There's different people believe different ways, but everybody is feeling like something's going to happen. We know what's going to happen. The Father has shown us. They don't. But then again, the information about what's going to happen is for who? Y'all servants. Praise the Most High. So we know that time is wrapping up. There soon will be no more time for anything. We are now in the Father's hands as he's molding us for this last time. So get ready for 2025. If we get a chance to do it, we will. But, put aside your little funds if you can. It's going to cost about $500 a family. Put aside your funds, and then we'll hopefully next year, by the grace of the Father Yah, be ready for Memorial Day weekend hit down here in Florida, 2025. I know that Father showed me my daddy was a sign. So now he's laid to rest. It's almost over. Praise the Most High. Yes, praise the Most High, Kimberly. Well, I believe this, and y'all know this. Whoever's supposed to be there is going to be there. Whoever's supposed to be there. That's right. That's right, Castle King. Your mom too. Rest in peace. Rise in power. Whoever's supposed to be there is going to be there. Praise the Most High. Praise the Most High. That's right, Iman Prakash. You praying for them. You asking for the seal. Now they have to make their own decision. Okay, they have to make their own decision. But you're praying for them, and you're bringing the Father's Spirit to them. Then they have to make their own decision. It's not easy. It's a long, arduous journey. Believe me, I just haven't finished one with my father, my daddy. I'm telling you, I was praying for him for many years, and the Father opened everything up in this last 2 years in a way I could never understand, except now I look back and understand. So pray for your loved ones. Pray for your family, your wife, your children, your cousins, your brethren. Pray for the Most High to bless them and send the Spirit upon them. Believe me, brethren, I'm telling you, from some people have contacted me from the funeral that were looking at the Zoom that I didn't even expect, and telling me how it has affected them. So that's the sign, brethren. We're coming to the situation now where people are going to be coming out of the woodwork confessing the truth. Children of Yafet, children of Ham, and Israelites. Okay. No, not yours. It was the one the funeral home did, Castle King. The one that they did one on Zoom. And Brother Gary Joseph, praise him. I was just saying, Brother Gary Joseph was there, Brother Castle King was there, Iman Prakash was there, Brother Yacoba was there, representing. Praise the Most High, representing. Giving the just to see them there was a blessing. Y'all don't know how much I was strengthened by even just your presence being there. It was a blessing, man. It was a blessing. It was a blessing, I'm telling y'all. So Memorial Day weekend 2025. Let's pray for that. And we'll revisit Shabbat. This past Shabbat, my father went to rest on Shabbat, and then he was laid to rest for the resurrection on Shabbat. Man, oh man, I'm so excited, brethren. Y'all don't know I'm so excited. And so, look, it's going to be good. It's going to be all good. That's right. That's right, Brother Lonnie. It's going to be all good. Just keep praying, keep seeking the Father. It's not easy as it sounds. If I say, pray, you really got to pray. And it's really a journey, I'm telling you, it's no joke. As Brother Castle King could testify, because he went through the same thing with his mother. You really got to pray. You really got to pray. And you really got to study that word. And you really got to seek your Heavenly Father. He will do the work after that. But it takes that. You have to do it. Have to do it. Praise the Most High. Praise the Most High. May the Most High bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May he lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Shalom.